However, the question on everyone's mind is how the hell Meghan and Harry are making all this money? Yes, what has he done with this Netflix series? He's used his mother to sell it. Could there be a more grotesque exploitation or a more hypocritical one, given their multi-million-dollar mansion? This is what people are finally saying aloud, not on Reddit or in some dubious podcast, but in real-life conversations. The story they sold us a few years ago, recalling that sit-down with Oprah Harry, just doesn't match up with the reality that they're flying private full-time security teams, wearing luxury clothes straight out of a Vogue shoot, and that they were cut off as soon as possible. They have been completely hopeless at everything, and Meghan even mentioned that she had to contact her old contacts in order to get back on her feet. Being essentially a copy of the royal Kardashians at the time, the whole situation had an underdog vibe to it, with two people leaving the world's most powerful monarchy to start over. It was kind of inspiring, but that's where things start to get strange. They didn't just survive, they thrived, and within months, there were Netflix deals. Speaking exclusively for Spotify, memoir contract. Don't get it twisted, making money isn't illegal. If someone has charisma, name value, and a good public relations team, they can monetize almost anything in today's digital economy. However, the red flags aren't coming from jealous tabloids or Twitter trolls anymore. We're talking about real people. Engagements with six-figure price tags, not to mention book deals and branded merchandise lines that came and went quietly, and their income seemed to explode overnight. Specialists in finance, government auditors, and legal insiders are beginning to question whether something more serious is happening. There is genuine talk that US and UK agencies are surreptitiously examining Sussex's financial network, and the focus is not on whether they are making money, but rather on how that money is moving, where it is being declared, and whether anything suspicious is happening beneath the surface. Rumors about shell corporations, questionable taxation of offshore accounts, filings. Yes, this isn't just about luxury spending anymore, it's also about legality, because let's face it, their lifestyle is costly. According to reports, their stupidly expensive security alone costs them millions of dollars annually. And even though they've obviously made some big deals, people are wondering if it all adds up. Sure, a Spotify podcast here and a Netflix series there might generate income, but does that justify the steady stream of expensive purchases? There is more going on than we realize, and this is the second aspect that many people find upsetting. They have made their brand out of being victims of the racism of the press, and every new deal seems to build on that story. Meghan's truth, Harry's trauma, their royal repercussions, and all of the content now sells pain rather than projects, which may garner clicks, streams, and book purchases, but it also draws attention, because when your entire business is based on mistreatment, people will begin to investigate who is genuinely harmed and who is profiting at the moment. Their business may appear to be well run, but there is noise going on behind the scenes. Investigators following financial traces, insiders fear this could become far more messy than a negative headline, and attorneys are preparing for questioning. This is no longer a PR cleanup. It might become a courtroom drama. And for Channel had a deaf term great. Itwood's dates are higher than ever before. Their public appearances lately give the impression that every step is planned. And it's not just about Meghan and Harry. It's also about power perception and how far someone can push their tail before the figures stop making sense. Sound clips from podcasts, meticulously crafted interviews, and precisely timed magazine covers. These days, fame is a machine, and every piece of information they provide appears to be intended to generate just enough buzz to. When you're monetizing your life narrative, there's only so much content you can distribute before the audience begins to wonder what's real and what's for sale. So keep them in headlines, but the strategy is beginning to feel more like a scramble than a plan. The silent, activist-driven actions and charity trips that characterized Meghan's brand in particular have been replaced by wellness initiatives, lifestyle blogs, whispered discussions about makeup lines, and even rumors. There's a growing sense that the new empire isn't built on values, but rather on visibility. The more eyes, the more money. And when you're chasing relevance like that, you can't afford to disappear for even a second. Harry's book was a huge success, sure, but it didn't just tell his side of the story. Collaborations with luxury fashion houses are things that make sense in the celebrity world, but less so for someone who said she was tired of public life. It destroyed familial ties. Everyone was exposed by the press and the palace, and although his candor sold many copies, it also exposed him to a new kind of Lynn. People expect transparency if you say you're speaking your truth, and financial investigators are now pushing for this, not just in words, but in money. The questions they're asking aren't trivial. They're not examining a single suspicious receipt or two. examining the entire system, including how agreements are made, who signs the documents, which countries provide the funds, and which taxes are filed. The word is that a number of revenue streams are being scrutinized, not because someone is envious, but rather because the numbers are rapidly shifting across borders and through numerous layers of names, businesses, and trusts. Additionally, let's not overlook the visual appeal of claiming to have been financially abandoned and then appearing to be living like brutong when you use that narrative to build a brand that is generating millions of dollars. Tax authorities stop watching interviews and start looking at bank accounts. Insiders say that several charitable foundations connected to the couple are also being examined, not because of any proven wrongdoing, but because that is what happens when public figures mix. Hollywood royalty, pay attention, profitable philanthropy. Every dollar coming in and going out must be tracked, and when you're launching products off camera while making emotional appeals on camera, it's easy to lose track of what's a legitimate cause, what's a brand strategy, and are the finances clean. In addition, there's growing interest in the team running their affairs. Are those around them just PR pros, or are they adept financial operators who know how to move money in ways that remain under the radar? Because if anything shady has happened, it probably wasn't an accident. It requires planning and structure, and it usually involves more people than just the faces in front of the camera. For this reason, this is no longer just a tabloid obsession, it's turning into a real financial case study. In the era of internet capitalism, when royalty and celebrity collide, the margins get extremely thin. And if something has been pushed too far, now that every move they make, every agreement they sign, and every brand they associate with is being followed, logged, and studied, it won't be a PR team cleaning it up, it will be lawyers in court. Meghan and Harry are no longer merely media-savvy ex-royals. They have evolved into a business model, and that model is solely dependent on continuing to garner attention, building momentum, and making headlines into cash. But the cracks are revealing, the deals are becoming increasingly desperate and regular. It's similar to seeing a startup grow too quickly and spend money just to stay afloat. Meghan's most recent endeavors have sparked even more curiosity. Social media hints about wellness products through lifestyle content and a purported cookery show. She seems to be attempting to start a dozen businesses at once, and although ambition is not forbidden, when someone expands too much, regulators and investors alike get wary. Harry's public image has taken a different kind of hit. The vulnerable, emotionally raw version of him that appeared in interviews has now changed into something else entirely. A man juggling lawsuits, book promotions, and increasingly awkward press moments. This is especially true when the foundation is fame and controversy rather than consistent value. Behind the scenes, there is talk that some brand partners are quietly pulling back out of fear of reputational risk. Legal experts have stated that if this situation worsens, the investigations may not only stay in the financial lane, but may also delve into reputation-based contracts, misrepresentation, and even misuse of charitable funds, particularly if any. His credibility was damaged when timelines failed to align, when some claims were contested, and when his own family remained conspicuously silent. Funds from nonprofit organizations have been diverted to private endeavors. None of this has been proven yet, but once financial agencies begin to dig deeper, they don't stop at the surface. It's no longer about whether Meghan and Harry technically broke the law. Rather, it's about whether they knew that certain financial decisions would give them tax advantages, get around reporting requirements, or sway public opinion by using charity branding. Different image, not one of defiance or independence, but rather one of exploitation and manipulation. And in the current environment, that is a hazardous story to spread. Fans are divided. Some continue to back them, arguing that every step is strategically vital, even motivating those who have become weary. What was once novel now seems rehearsed, and the question is subtly reverberating across the never-ending stream of personal disclosures, lawsuits, and media deals. Platforms is easy to use. Are they trying to become the next great power couple outside of the monarchy? Are they leaving a legacy? Are they trying to stay relevant at all costs? Or are they just trying to escape a financial mess they can't afford to slow down and fix? There have been rumors that lawyers are planning for every scenario behind closed doors, tax audits, public filings, subpoenas, and sometimes even depositions if the situation becomes serious. The curtain is pulled back completely. There is no longer any PR control or narrative shaping. Just facts, timings, bank statements, and paper trails. And the thing about paper trails is that they don't lie. They either validate your story or completely destroy it for Meghan and Harry. Because when your brand is based on transparency and the money says differently, it's not just a contradiction, it's a catastrophe. And the risk now goes beyond embarrassment to include full-blown legal exposure. No Netflix arrangement can edit that at this time.